Hello, I'm Stuart Wright from Envirovent, and I'm guessing that you've clicked on this video because you want to know how to prevent condensation and mould from destroying your house and threatening your family's health. Black mould is a nasty substance. If you want to find out a bit more about it, please feel free to go to my blog, mildewandmould.co.uk. But for now, what I want to do is explain the best solution to ensure that your house is protected from condensation and mould for the life of the building. Now, let me first of all explain why the problems have been occurring in the UK and why it is so widespread. Over the last sort of 30 or 40 years, we've been making our houses more and more airtight. And we've been doing this for a good reason. We want to save energy. As you know, the price of energy is going up all the time and we're running out of fossil fuels. So ultimately it's become more and more expensive, and it's going to continue to become more and more expensive to heat our homes in the future. So measures such as cavity wall insulation, loft insulation, double glazing in new PVC doors, draft proofing our home, what that has done is it meant that we've trapped in a lot of heat, a lot of energy, but also we're trapping in all the moisture as well. The average family produces somewhere in the region of 112 pints of moisture every single week, just by breathing, cooking, cleaning, drying, washing, ironing, all the things that we do naturally in our homes. And this has led to huge problems with condensation forming, and ultimately if you have condensation forming, it only takes 6 hours or so for mould to start growing. So it doesn't surprise me that so many people are now suffering with this problem. So how do we combat it? Well, the easiest thing to do is to think of your home as a living, breathing organism. Just as we breathe, your home needs to breathe as well. And breathing is a two-part process, isn't it? If you have a look at the diagram here, we breathe in the good stuff, the oxygen, and we breathe out the waste stuff, the stuff we don't need, the carbon dioxide. Now, if you think of that analogy, it's exactly the same in the home, okay? The home itself has to breathe. So the answer is whole home ventilation. Now, with a whole home ventilation system, it's normally a two-part system, just like breathing. You have a system fitted that breathes good stuff in, that's the fresh, clean, dry, filtered air, and you have a system that breathes the waste products out. That will be the air that's contaminated with excess moisture, where you're trying to solve a condensation and mould problem. So breathing in, breathing out. So let me show you some equipment that would be worth you investing some time researching that might be appropriate for your home. So let's have a look at some equipment that does exactly that in the home. What we're looking at here is a positive input ventilation system. Now this one here would typically be fitted in a loft, but don't worry if you don't have a loft space, because there are other variations of this available for flats, apartments and basements, places that don't have a roof void. They'd typically be fitted on a wall or they go in a utility cupboard. But the principle is the same. What this system does is it's a constant volume air delivery system. It has a filter on it, so it's putting in the good stuff, like the oxygen we're breathing in. This is putting in the fresh, clean, dry, filtered air. And it's doing it at a constant rate, so it's actually diluting, displacing and replacing the moisture-laden air on a constant air change cycle. And it's those air changes that keep the property nice and dry and keep the humidity levels at a safe level. So that's putting the air in. Where does the air go? How does the air escape? In a really tightly built property, or in a property that's had cavity wall insulation, loft insulation, all those measures I was talking about earlier on, it's difficult for that air to escape. So as well as the positive pressure that we're creating, we need to create some negative air pressure as well. So now over to the negative air pressure system. This is the cyclone. Again, it's a constant volume fan, so whereas the positive input system is constant volume but it's constantly putting in the good stuff, the air that we need, this is a constant volume fan, and this is constantly taking out the bad stuff. So it's always looking for excess moisture, and it works harder and harder the more moisture we produce. I'm just going to demonstrate how it does this. We have this tube here, which is a clear see-through tube, and at the bottom there is a white puck. And in a moment you're going to be able to see that puck move when I put the cyclone onto this test. For the purposes of the test, I have the intelligent sensor that looks for moisture on the outside, and I'm just going to breathe on it. Now, remember, there's nowhere near as much moisture in my breath as there is in your shower, or if you're boiling a pan of potatoes in the kitchen. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to breathe on it and see how it reacts. You see there, it reacts really, really quickly, detected that there was excess moisture, and it removed it. And as soon as it removed it, it goes back down to a trickle again. Because it doesn't need to be constantly working that hard, only when the moisture is there. So, there we have it, a two-part system. Positive input ventilation and a negative air pressure system with vapour tracking. So there you have it, low energy mechanical ventilation systems, the best way to control condensation and mould in your property. If you want to know more about these particular products, please come and visit us at homeventilation.co.uk. Thank you for watching.